Hello and welcome to the channel. This is Literature Simplified, where I explain English literature in simple English. Today we are going to look at the poem Haunted Houses by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Longfellow was a very famous American poet and educator who lived from 1807 to 1882, and this poem was published in 1858. Let us now go through the poem to understand it in detail. When we hear the word haunted, we usually think of ghosts that frighten us. But in this poem, the poet speaks about ghosts in a very calm, gentle, and reflective way. It's a thoughtful poem about memory, human life, time, and how the past lives on. Now let's start with the poem. All houses wherein men have lived and died are haunted houses. Through the open doors the harmless phantoms on their errands glide, with feet that make no sound upon the floors. The poet begins with a powerful idea. Every house in which people have lived and died is haunted. But these are not frightening ghosts. These are called harmless phantoms. Phantoms is just another word for ghosts. They move quietly from room to room through open doors, carrying out their daily routines. And their feet make no sound on the floors when they move. Here, ghosts really stand for the memories and presence of people who once lived in these houses. We meet them at the doorway, on the stair, along the passages they come and go. Impalpable impressions on the air, a sense of something moving to and fro. We may feel a strange feeling in the doorway, on the stairs, or in the passages, as if something invisible is moving around. These are impalpable impressions. Impalpable means something that cannot be felt by touch. An impression means a mark that has been left behind after an object has been removed. So here it means something that is left behind after the physical body is gone. The next stanza is, there are more guests at the table than the hosts invited. The illuminated hall is thronged with quiet, inoffensive ghosts as silent as the pictures on the wall. The poet says that when guests are invited to have dinner, there are even ghosts sitting at the table with them. The hall or the main living area of the home is also filled with silent and invisible ghosts, just like the pictures on the wall. The stranger at my fireside cannot see the forms I see, nor hear the sounds I hear. He but perceives what is, while unto me all that has been is visible and clear. So a visitor in the house sitting at the fireside cannot see and hear what the poet can. He can only see the obvious things that are visible in the moment. He can only see the present, what exists right now. But the poet, who is emotionally connected to the house, can also see the past through memory and imagination. He remembers the people who once lived there, even though now they are gone. We have no title deeds to house or lands. Owners and occupants of earlier dates from graves forgotten stretch their dusty hands and hold in mortmain still their old estates. Here, the poet reminds us that we, later owners of a house, have no real ownership of it. A title deed is a document to show ownership of land. People who lived before us still seem to hold on to their homes through memory. Even though they are dead, their presence still lingers in the places that they once loved. Mortmain means to own property forever. It means that even though we may legally own and live in the house now, the people who owned it before us will always be the real owners of this home forever. The spirit world around this world of sense floats like an atmosphere, and everywhere wafts through these earthly mists and vapors dense a vital breath of more ethereal air. The poet describes the world in which spirits live like the atmosphere that surrounds our earth. Our world is dense and heavy, and we experience it through our senses. But the spirit world enters into our world like clean, pure, light air. Have a look at the image on the screen. Try to imagine this stanza as our world being represented by the heavier, denser clouds, and the spirit world is represented by the thinner layer of cleaner, lighter air that is above that. Now the poet moves from houses to human life and an inner struggle that humans feel. He says, Our little lives are kept in equipoise by opposite attractions and desires. The struggle of the instinct that enjoys and the more noble instinct that aspires. So equipoise means balance. He's saying that human life is balanced between two opposite forces. One is the desire to enjoy material life, possessions, wealth, comforts, and luxuries, and the other is the desire to grow spiritually and morally. We are always pulled between comfort and a higher purpose of life. These perturbations, this perpetual jar of earthly wants and aspirations high, come from the influence of an unseen star and undiscovered planet in our sky. Perturbations are disturbances or things that make us restless. Perpetual jar means an ongoing friction or mismatch. Here jar stands for a sort of clash of two things and not the kind of jar that means container. The poet is suggesting that this inner struggle is influenced by mysterious unseen forces such as a planet or a star. The way we believe in astrology that certain planets affect our lives, we are not in complete control of our lives. There are greater powers that affect us. Now the poet gives us a beautiful image using the moon. And as the moon from some dark gate of cloud throws o'er the ocean a floating bridge of light, across whose trembling planks our fancies crowd into the realm of mystery and night. So he's saying that when the moonlight spreads over the sea, it looks like a bridge of light coming from behind the dark clouds. Have a look at the screen at this image and this will give you an idea of what these first two lines mean. The light on the water looks like planks of a floating bridge. Again, look at the image. When you walk on a bridge like this, a floating bridge, the wooden planks move with your weight. So the poet compares the light on the water to the trembling wooden planks. He creates an image of our fancies, meaning our imagination, crossing over this bridge of light into an unknown world of mystery represented by the moon and clouds. I hope the meaning of the poem is clear to you so far. Before we go any further, drop a comment if you're finding this easy to understand, and then let's carry on with the next stanza. So from the world of spirits there descends a bridge of light, connecting it with this, o'er whose unsteady floor that sways and bends wander our thoughts above the dark abyss. Now, in the same way, the poet describes an invisible bridge between the spirit world and the human world. He describes the bridge as having an unsteady floor. This is because the connection between this world and the spirit world is of an unknown nature. All our knowledge about it is theoretical. Our thoughts often travel across this bridge when we think about death, memory, and whatever lies beyond life. So that was the explanation of the poem. I hope you found it easy to understand. Now let's look at the main themes of this poem. The first theme is memory and the presence of the past. The poem shows that the past never fully disappears. It remains with us through memory, emotion, and imagination, especially in our homes. People who have lived in a home never leave it, even after death. Their spirit always remains there in some way or the other. The second theme is the connection between the physical world and the spiritual world. Life is not limited to what we can experience with our senses. There is another unseen world all around us. The third theme is human inner struggle. Human beings want to enjoy earthly comforts but are also pulled towards higher moral and spiritual interests. It's almost as if there's always a tug of war going on between these two aspects. Now let's look at the literary devices used in the poem. The first is imagery. The poet uses words very effectively that create soft, gentle pictures of quiet halls, doorways, moonlight, and invisible movement of the spirits. The way he also describes the spirit world and a bridge that connects the two worlds, this also creates a very clear image in our mind. The second literary device he uses is metaphor. That is to show a comparison between two things in a creative way. The bridge of light is a metaphor for the connection between the world of the living and the world of the spirits. The next literary device he uses is personification. That is, when we give human qualities to objects or lifeless things. So the following lines are examples of this. The harmless phantoms on their errands glide. And the next line, across whose trembling planks our fancies crowd. And one more line, wander our thoughts above the dark abyss. So these are all examples of personification. The tone of the poem is calm, peaceful, and reflective. Though it talks about ghosts, there is nothing scary about the descriptions. Because the poet has described spirits and the spirit world in such a unique way, it puts the reader in a thoughtful mood and makes them consider what may lie beyond this physical world, which the poet describes as a dark abyss, and the spirit world as something more pure and light. The central idea of the poem is that the past, memory, and the spirit world are always around us. We are connected not only to the present moment in the physical world, but also to those who lived before us. Life exists on more than just one visible level. So that was the explanation of the poem Haunted Houses. I hope it helped you to understand the poem better. The concept may seem vague in some places, but remember the bridge as the central image of this poem, and you will be able to explain how the poet connects the physical and spiritual worlds. If you found this video useful, do subscribe for more poems and works of literature explained in simple English, and I'll see you soon in the next video.